in just a bit, Mr. USC himself, Keyshawn Johnson, reacting to Reggie Bush advocating on Fox Sports that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, should be considered for USC's head coaching job. I can't reiterate enough that you'll want to stick around for that. Key with some inside info. But now we get back to the Pack. During last night's impressive performance by Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Peyton Manning had this to say about how the rocky offseason may have impacted the star quarterback.
Bill Polian, early in my career, he and I would sit down in the offseason. We would have a little talk about the locker room. Hey, Peyton, what do you think we need? Just getting the players' perspective. Not saying he was going to do all of those things, but I think he was just trying to gather information. And so that seems to be the disconnect, the miscommunication, or the lack of communication. But the good thing now, Pat, is hopefully we can put that behind us now that we're playing football. I actually think it affected Aaron in week one. He was still talking about the offseason, the frustration. He played frustrated against the Saints. Tonight, he looks much more relaxed, like the Aaron Rodgers we know, and he's played a lot better football because of it.
I like seeing the Mannings on TV. Monday was Aaron Rodgers' 25th game with at least 4 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions, one shy of Drew Brees and Tom Brady for the most in NFL history. Jeff, Saturday, you are up first. Is Rodgers good enough to carry this defense?
Absolutely. Listen, you're talking about the MVP of the football league last year. I mean, this dude can flat out play. And I understand the distractions. I understand everything that he went through, dealing with the organization. That's all off-season conversation. When you're in the building and you're focused, this guy can lead any football team and make them better, and he is going to do that for the Packers. Understand the transition the Packers are going through. They have a new defensive coordinator from last year, so they're trying to get equipped on the defensive side of the ball. They've had some injuries over there. Smith is banged up, so you have some things you're having to work through. You have a new offensive line. Pretty much you have 3 young players who are playing offensive line position, and David Bakhtiari, their starting left tackle, is still trying to come back, so they've moved another player over. So there's a lot of shuffling going on. The thing I was most impressed with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and why I know he can lead this team, is he took exactly what the Detroit Lions gave him. They were playing 2, forcing you to run. He didn't get frustrated. He didn't play out of himself. He handed the ball off, checked it down. Then when they tried to get into something, he made them pay. And you saw the throws he made. I don't know if you understand how good the throw was to Devontae Adams right there. You just saw it on the side. The next one, the tight end coming across, you literally can't see him. Like if you get the back angle, you can't see that player. And he put it in his face mask. Perfect coverage, because that's the dude Aaron is. He's better than most quarterbacks in our game. He's one of the top 5 QBs. Not only he is a dual threat, he can pull the ball down, go make you pay athletically as well. I know he can carry this football team. I still believe this is a top 5 team in the NFC. If their defense brings it up, they will move up on my list. Aaron Rodgers is good enough to do it.
Jeff Saturday, you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
You are wrong. Okay, and I say that respectfully because, again, both of you played, I didn't. You forgot more football than I ever know. But the bottom line is this. I got 2 eyes. And I saw an Aaron Rodgers that was the league MVP last year with 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I saw an Aaron Rodgers that I religiously have acknowledged is the greatest talent at the quarterback position I've ever seen until Patrick Mahomes came along. That's how much I feel about Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2010. And right now, what we're talking about is when you ask the question about him being good enough, that's really the question. Are you good enough to win the chip? We know he's good enough to win the division. We know he's good enough to get to the playoffs. We know he's good enough to get to the NFC Championship game because he's done it the last 2 years in a row, where he's 26-6. You know what he ain't good enough to do? He doesn't appear good enough to overcome Matt LaFleur. He doesn't appear good enough to overcome their defensive woes. He doesn't appear good enough to overcome Kevin King. He doesn't appear good enough to do those things. That's where my concern is. So when we ask the question about whether he's good enough or not, from a talent perspective, guys, I'm looking at him, and I have no questions about him. I have no questions about what they'll be able to do offensively. Could he have played better in the 4th quarter against Tampa in the NFC Championship game? Sure. Could he have run for that touchdown instead of, missing a touchdown? Of course he could have, okay? But should he have had the ball in his hands on a 4th down? You're damn right he should have. And Matt LaFleur, we must never let Matt LaFleur off the hook for that. That was an egregious decision on his part, simply because of who was standing across the other sideline, and all he would need is a 1st down or 2 to seal the deal. That is just insane that Matt LaFleur made that decision. Having said all of that, You decide to get rid of Mike Pettin. You bring in Joe Barry. We're looking at the defense. It's still a question mark. Are you going to be able to overcome the mistakes they appear to be, it appears that they will inevitably make? And that is where I challenge what you said about Aaron Rodgers. Not him as a talent. I'm just saying, as you were pointing out when we talk about Derek Carr and everybody else, I mean, you and Keyshawn stood up and said, I don't play defense. I don't play defense. Well, guess what? Neither does Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He doesn't play defense.
Yeah,
That's
the difference, though, with the difference with Aaron Rodgers and Carr and those defenses, we know he makes it to the playoffs. And you know as well as I know, it's all about matchups once you get to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
It's the seeding. They can grab a team, and it's the seeding, then all of a sudden he's in the Super Bowl. Yeah. If he gets the Dallas Cowboys for what weird reason, or he gets the Seattle Seahawks for what weird reason and skip past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's all about that. So absolutely, absolutely he can lead them to another Super Bowl. Absolutely he can. And he can overcome Matt LaFleur's deficiency because that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
That was fixed in the offseason.
Yeah.
That was fixed in the offseason. You best believe that was fixed in the offseason.
Sure?
I'm sure that was fixed.
You are seeing a team begin to bend and adjust to what Aaron wants.
Absolutely.
And as the season progresses, and everybody wants like the finished product in week 2, and I get it, right? Like as fans, we get captured and we're like, man, we want to see them play to the top of their ability. It's not going to happen, right? So you bring Randall Cobb back, right? You have Rodgers out there. Absolutely. It takes time. You got Adams. So their offensive line is reshuffling, removing. It takes time to get that thing. As you watch this football team, what I look at is the pieces and parts are in place. As it begins to evolve, as the season begins to evolve, they will get better and better.
Absolutely.
And Aaron Rodgers will be the difference maker, because here's the difference. When you talk about Derek Carr and how well he's playing right now, we don't know when the big lights turn on what it's really going to look like. What you do know for Aaron is, you know when the big lights have turned on, he has answered. It may have been 10 years ago, but he has answered it. And I'm just going to let you know, that don't go away. Like you put that feather in and you keep it in your cap. As it continues to progress, he will carry those guys and have the guys around.
And when you look at it, Steve, we're going to double team you real quick. When you look at it, Stephen A., like Jeff said, the defense is new. The offense is clicking on all cylinders because there was no change there. Joe Barry has to get used to calls. He has to get used to the right defender. For all we know, King may not even be in the lineup in a week.
That's fair. That's fair because I don't know if he deserves to be. Let's be very, very clear. But let me ask y'all this question. Any of y'all picking Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl?
No,
What about you, Keith?
Not because, but hold up.
No,
Let me just say this: not because of Aaron Rodgers, really not even because of their offense. I think the Bucs' offensive line is what takes them over. Yeah. And as crazy as it sounds, why do I have Cleveland potentially getting to the Super Bowl?
Because of the offensive line.
Because of their offense. Because I know
you're biased.
Listen,
you're biased.
I know when real ball happens, what's going to separate.
I mean,
now, you might not be able to overcome Mahomes, and I get that, right? Mahomes might make plays and do things that shock the world, and he's that kind of guy. So is Aaron Rodgers. So that's where you get scared, because Tampa Bay's defense has got to get better up front, creating pressure.
Well, listen,
because if he sits back, he'll tear you apart.
Green Bay's offensive line is not Tampa's offensive line, but it ain't god awful. I mean, the point is that when you look at Green Bay, when you look at Green Bay, you don't listen. Don't get me started with my Pittsburgh Steelers. That's the damn problem with their offensive line. It's just in shatters. Don't get me started with it, okay? I'm just trying to keep my cool. But in the end, what it comes down to is that when we look at the Green Bay Packers, we got questions about their defense. We got questions about their ability to get the quarterback. We got questions about their ability in the secondary. We got questions about their defensive coordinator. We got questions about the decision making from their coaches. I mean, damn. That's the problem.
But we would have the same questions about Tampa right now on the defense, on their defensive side of the ball, if it weren't for Tom Brady throwing nine touchdowns.
If it wasn't, even with Todd Bowles?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No. They have struggled.
They're
not together yet. Yeah. They're not together.
What 2 games you been watching?
But here's the deal. Listen to me. The 4 pass for Tampa. Why did they separate themselves against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Because their 4 outperformed the 5 of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
They're going to get back again, man. Like, it don't just turn on. These are guys who got to get back into the system, get back into it. So you could look at a number of different defenses and question it. Defenses progress because they get more film. Like, offensively, we have a bit of an advantage because they haven't seen exactly what we want to do, like what formations, the splits, all those kind of things. So there's a little bit of that stuff that has to kind of get.
We change week to week anyway in formations and splits
Right.
and things of that nature. Defenses don't change.
Okay.
They're going to run
It's
3 or 4
hard.
coverages.
Well,
and a
through
couple
the
stunts, and
first
that's
2
it.
weeks, they're bottom 5 in third down defense and bottom 5 in efficiency.
Ooh.
But I got
Gotta get off the field.
But I got something for you. So Peyton last night had this to say after a Jared Goff fumble in the third.
The wet ball drill, my guess is they didn't do it this week in Detroit where the equipment guy sprays the water bottle on the football. I used to do it with Jeff Saturday twice a week. Even when we were playing in the dome, might be a leak in the dome that day. Pretty good snap, Just looks like it just.
Looked like a good snap. It looked like a good snap. I think it's always the quarterback's fault, right? You always got to take blame, but I think that one looked like it got up there pretty good.
Listen, preparation for Manning doesn't go understated ever. Like this dude, we did do that for the Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
We literally had a 5-gallon bucket of water, and we would dip the ball in there.
That was fun for you.
Oh, miserable. I like to tell people, it's so much more fun for the quarterback than the center, right? But he is
Absolutely.
completely correct in preparation matters. And whether we were going to go play an outdoor stadium where there was a chance of rain, we would practice that for that exact reason. And when when it split his hands, man, it's like a gut punch for a quarterback center exchange. Like, man,
And that's what
I was
separates the
sitting
champions.
there watching the game last night. I said, well, I guess Sean McVay got that right.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was
I was
thinking.
like,
when I
damn.
saw the ball, I was like this. That's what
That's what
Sean McVay was
that's
talking
what he's
about.
talking about.
Preparation.
Right
there.
Preparation.
It matters.
Preparation. Preparation, no doubt.
All right, we'll leave it there, guys. The one and only Mina Kimes joining the show next. She heard Stephen A. would rather have Kyler